Hi everyone, my name is Jessica and I am giving you an update 2 months after my ileostomy reversal. So I just realized I had my 2-month anniversary and I thought it would be time to just give a little bit of information about how things have gone, how things are now. Again, kind of talking a little bit more about the information that I was seeking when I was mentally preparing for my ostomy reversal. So to back it up a little bit, I had 7 weeks from when I had my ostomy placed and when I had my ostomy reversed. And I'm about 2 months from my ostomy reversal. So that's kind of the timeline we're working with. I did say I was going to do another video in between my last video where I talked about kind of my ileostomy story, like the preparation, and then a 1 month update. And I was going to explain kind of why I had an ileostomy because my course was a little bit more unique and not as common as to why a lot of people have ostomies or ileostomies at least. So I've been very busy with a lot of life transitions. So I'm going to do that video next. And then I'll probably do, I don't know, I don't think monthly videos at this point are very helpful, but I'll do maybe a 6-month video just to kind of offer a little bit more insight, as well as maybe talk about what my wound is looking like. So anyway, so I hope these videos are helpful. So after my initial ileostomy surgery, when I had it placed, I had a really hard time sleeping after. I could only sleep on my back because if I turned on my sides, I just felt like there was so much tension on the ostomy site, the area around my ileostomy, and it was very uncomfortable and it was painful. But some of that too is related to my ab muscles around that, which I'll talk in my next video about kind of my other issues at the time. So so it wasn't, I just couldn't do it. And I couldn't sleep on my sides for the first couple weeks after my ileostomy reversal, probably, I don't know, I want to say like a week and a half or so, until I was able to lay on my one side where my wound, my new abdominal wound was, closer to the bed. So I felt like there was just less gravity pulling at it. So that was a little more comfortable. Maybe a week later, I was able to lay on my other side, where you have more gravity pulling, for me anyway. So I could finally start sleeping on my sides. I am a stomach sleeper normally, so I am looking forward to the day when I can sleep on my stomach, but I am not quite there yet, unfortunately. I haven't tried it yet, so maybe it could work, but I just haven't really tried it out quite yet. Maybe I just haven't been brave enough. So sleeping is better overall, but now it's nice to be able to lay in different positions for sure. About my wound. So my wound has closed, which is nice. So it looks better and feels better, but I am still doing daily dressing changes with gauze and tape, mostly because of reducing some friction or some inflammation from fabric on my shirts rubbing on my wound. And I am not quite sure what is going on with my wound, to be honest. I was planning on reaching back out to my surgeon just to make sure that there's nothing else I should be doing. I stopped using the Vaseline gauze a couple weeks ago once it kind of closed. Granted, there's still the wound there, but the top of it, I can like run my finger along it and it's not inside my wound. It's just kind of like this weird scab on the top. But I think there where I have stitches kind of coming through, or maybe stitches in the scab, is where I'm having some dryness or some. It's kind of hard to describe, but it just looks kind of dry and like it kind of flakes off around it and kind of these circles. And then I'd switched to Band-Aids for a brief amount of time, thinking that I could use Band-Aids and it would be less stuff under my shirt. Less protrusion maybe, and it would just feel a little bit more comfortable. But then I started having some oozing again in the two spots where the stitches are, and it was kind of this yellowish, greenish ooze, which is not the color you want to see in a Band-Aid. So I stopped using the Band-Aid and I'm back to using gauze, and I'm not having that drainage anymore, which is good, but I'm still having the dryness in my scab wound area. So that is still something I'm working through. I'm also using scar gel on my midline incision where they did the X-lap surgery. So I just bought some on Amazon. I think it's a little bit cheaper than the name brand, but um, I'm not using it as consistently yet, so I don't think I'm seeing any results yet. But one of my surgeons had told me that, you know, my midline incision scar probably wouldn't be very visible after things have healed, but the ostomy wound would be a more visible scar. But we'll see what the scar gel does. Hopefully that will help minimize some of the scarring. And then yeah, I'll need a belly button revision surgery one day. But anyway, that's the other video. What else? So let's talk about the biggest thing when it comes to the recovery of the surgery. And the first surgery is bowel movements, the very fun topic. So I will say overall it is so much better than when it started, when after the reversal first happened. I kept a log all the way until day 60, so I kind of had an idea. I also tried to keep track for a while when you're kind of in this phase, um, when you're not going as often, but certain foods will elicit more of a reaction of those that were like safer to eat, or things that, you know, foods that maybe made you go to the bathroom more often, especially when you're in that sensitive period, where you're not going to the bathroom every so often, maybe after 3 weeks of keeping that so you have a better idea. I did that for a while, but at this point things have gotten so much better. I don't have to do that, and plus you kind of have a better idea of like spicy foods maybe aren't always safe, so if you're going to eat spicy foods, make sure you're home, or make sure you have a plan if you have to go to the bathroom pretty suddenly. The nice thing about being in this 2-month period is the end of the low residue diet. So I had to go on it. They said from 4 to 6 weeks. I just did the full 6 weeks because I wanted to minimize my running to the bathroom, and I also just wanted to give my bowels more time to rest, not be so swollen in there, and that helped things pass through. So some of my discharge instructions said 4 to 6 weeks, but I just did 6 weeks. So if you also do the low residue diet for 6 weeks after your ostomy reversal, or the 4 weeks, then welcome to eating foods again and not being afraid to eat vegetables again and mushrooms and all of these things. So what's nice about this month that was different than the first month is going like where you would have a day where you don't have a bowel movement, seeing that more often. So I would say, looking at my data, there was only one time where I went 2 days without a bowel movement, but that's okay, because, you know, I frequently went a day, or in a week maybe I had 2 or 3 days where I didn't have a bowel movement. And then what's great is, especially as time went on, I was only going once, maybe twice a day, and they were more formed bowel movements. So it wasn't that loose, watery stools anymore, but it just was more formed. It felt less painful coming out, and then by going less often, it's not such a raw area. So overall, a lot better. There were a couple days where I did go more frequently and they were less formed. Maybe the first time it was more formed, and then as the day went on, they didn't have as much time to form, and that would be probably because I ate something bad, or spicier, or, you know, trying to be more adventurous. So it kind of depends, you know, again, what is going on if you want to try spicy foods, but again, you're probably going to have more frequent and more urgent bowel movements where you really have to go. So so just being mindful of that is really important. what else? It's kind of the big thing I feel like is just the bowel movements and how that really has taken up so much of our life. You know, at first when you get the ileostomy, you're like your whole experience or what you're going through is about your bowel movements or your stools, and now your stools are going into a bag and managing that bag, and is it getting too full, or is it making noises, or just getting used to it, or the when you're thinking about your pouch changes. And um, so that, you know, really eats up a lot of your mind, especially at first. And it does get better. I know, like, right before I was getting my ostomy reversed, I started to get kind of more into a rhythm with it, and I felt like it was holding me back less. But obviously glad to have had it reversed since I had the opportunity to have it reversed. And now after the, you know, with the ostomy reversal, at first it's like, gosh, now I'm so happy to start using the bathroom more, and, you know, not having to go in a bag. But it's still frequent. You have to plan your, like, what foods you're eating, and you're worried that you're going to have an accident, or if you're going to be doing something important, or if you're on a long drive. Things you have to be really cautious of. um, I'll admit that there were times where I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to make it to the bathroom. I had moved, and I had to make a 4 or 5 hour drive, and I was worried about being able to have enough time to find an exit, get to the gas station or wherever to use the bathroom. Like, what if I didn't have enough time? So I wore an adult diaper as a precaution, and I didn't need it, which is great, but it's something real that we had to deal with. So it's great that after this whole journey of not having bowel movements be something that we have to consciously and subconsciously worry about and have to prepare for. So it finally feels like a little bit of freedom, which is great. And I hope if you're in the same part of the journey, or if you are soon going to be in this part of the journey, that you are celebrating those moments because of the process to get here and really what we've been through. So I hope that is something that I'm sure that resonates with anybody who's gone through this experience. So what else? I think the only other thoughts I have too about, like, kind of GI stuff is there, at least more recently too, and well, intermittently, and then it's kind of flaring up a little bit recently, is I think as our GI systems start to, like, learn how to work again and get back into finding its pattern, which they say can take up to 6 months until your body finds its new pattern, is gas, more like kind of like gas pains, but you just kind of feel it in your belly, and using, like, medications for that if you need it. Like, I use Gas X or whatever generic version of Gas X that I find at the store to help alleviate some of that, and that's been helpful for me. Otherwise, depending, like, I have, like, kind of the trio of or I guess there's 4 kind of meds. So I have my Pepto, I have Tums, I have Gas X, and then I have Imodium. I haven't taken Imodium since I was discharged from the hospital after the reversal, because they took that off my medication list and told me not to take it, so I didn't. But I haven't really needed to. And even though we're literally having, like, issues or diarrhea, but anyway, I haven't taken it. And I haven't taken Tums, but I've taken Pepto and I've taken Gas X as needed sometimes. It's a process, and every day is a little different. Sometimes you feel like you're having good days, sometimes bad days. I try not to think of it too much of a roller coaster, because then it's like you go up for a while and then you might go down. But sometimes I feel like there wasn't enough ups where you're like keep getting better, and then sometimes it's not always down. So I just think, like, you know, it's these baby steps up. Sometimes you do well and you take 2 steps forward. Sometimes you're not doing as well and you take a step back. but trying to just give yourself grace that your body has really gone through so much, and there is light at the end of the tunnel, which I'm already feeling. So yeah, I won't draw this out too much more. I think those are kind of the big things. I think pain is probably the last thing. So I haven't had any pain medicine in quite some time. I was taking Tylenol around the clock every 6 hours, and then I started to kind of go a little bit longer because Tylenol does stay in your system for a while. So I think I was going like, gosh, maybe up to 12 hours, and then maybe once in the morning when I first got up, and then I just stopped taking it, and it was great. So that happened this last month as well. I believe I don't know if it was at the end of the first month or if it was the early part of this month, but yeah, no more pain, not like it was. I can run my finger over my scab, over my abdominal wound, and it doesn't hurt. Yeah, the pain is so much better than it was. It was so painful multiple times this process, and it is also such a relief to not be in pain anymore. So if that's, yeah, life with pain I cannot imagine. So really, people who have chronic illnesses that involve a lot of pain, I cannot empathize or sympathize enough. But I will say I am very lucky and very grateful to not be in pain anymore, not like I was. So hopefully, if you're watching this, you get to that point too. And yeah, I definitely cry, or sometimes I've cried thinking about how things have been. You know, like 2.5 months ago, I was pooping into a bag. I was in so much pain. Couldn't hardly walk around, and today I am moving around a lot. I am a little deconditioned from not walking a whole lot over the summer, not to where I was. Sometimes using different muscles, like, you know, taking stairs, or if I like, you know, drop to my knees, like crouched a couple times, like bend over and grab something, I notice I feel sore, I feel stiff for a little while. So again, kind of getting your body moving again has been a bit. So it's just another adjustment I have to make after. But everything is moving in the right direction. Thank goodness after all of that. I hope for all of you it's the same. So again, congratulations for everyone who's making this journey, and, you know, keep moving forward. I wish the best for all of you, and yeah, a lot of healing vibes. And I will be doing another video on my process, or why I ended up with an ileostomy without having Crohn's disease or any kind of cancer. Spoiler alert, it was after having a baby. So I will talk about that if anyone's interested, and then I'll do another update, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so, maybe, depending if things dramatically change and it feels like it warrants an update. But again, this channel is really just for these very few videos, so I'm not advertising. Not like other people say, like, you know, don't forget to subscribe. But if you do want to be notified when those videos do come out, I'm not going to be doing a lot of videos in general, and just these few videos, so feel free to do that. And I should say I apologize for all of the I am really bad about that. Anyway, feel free to leave any questions, comments. Apparently I get emails for any comments on here, so I will try to answer any questions if anybody has. And again, good luck to all of you on your journeys. Take care, all.